So, after a short intermission, we are back and on to the Sport and Culture Report hosted by me.
Or Culture and Sports Report.
Culture and Sports Report, because the culture comes first. For the culture, Carnage House Productions. Now, before we get into the sport, we'd like to discuss Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Tekashi.
It's Treyway, apparently.
Now, do you want to give an introduction to Treyway for the people who aren't familiar with him?
Well, we'll actually get to that. We'll get to that. The reason Tekashi is in the news is because Bobby Shmurda, the GOAT of the game, who released Hot N-word, who featured on a track with Tekashi called Stupid, got interviewed yesterday. And
from prison?
I'm not sure what the deal he has, but it might have been from prison, it might not have been. I think sometimes he gets to go in and out, I don't know really. But he was asked if he'd ever do a song with Tekashi, considering he took a plea deal from the law and is essentially a snitch. And Bobby Shmurda goes, hell, mother, no. So, from this, we'd like to have a brief history of Tekashi and just give an insight into who he is for the people that don't know him, and for the people that do know him, just have a little...
He's a rainbow-haired rapper.
Who was... who blew up in regard to fame in... regard to fame.
Pertaining to the aspects of publicity.
When his video, his video.
You want to know why our things take so long? It's because you dribble.
His video in 2017 for his song Gummo blew up, and within a couple of months the track went platinum.
He's got jewellery on his teeth.
He's got jewellery on his teeth. He's got rainbow hair. He's 5'6" and weighs 60 kilos, so he's not actually...
He's a gangster.
Who weighs more in lost, Treyway or you?
I can confirm that I weigh more than Tekashi. But after this, he got gang affiliations with this guy called Shoddy, who's part of the
Bloods?
Part of the Bloods, the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods.
Not the guys you want to mess with.
Not the guys you want to mess with. Who are a subset of the violent prison gang founded at New York's Riker Island Jail in 1993. So these guys are some serious hard hitters. You don't want to mess with these cats. And Shoddy, who's a prominent member of them, said Tekashi jump on board. Now Tekashi, from all reports from people close to him, had no gang affiliation. He was from the Jets, but was not a hard lad.
What's the Jets?
From the projects.
Oh, right.
So
the Jets, it's got to say.
But he just needed to make some money because he had a child in 2015 and decided, look,
6ix9ine did.
Yeah, and he said, I'm not going to be able to feed my family on minimum wage, so let me go and become a rapper. So he dyes his hair all rainbow and does whatever he wants. And so after his fame, there were reports coming out of him pleading guilty to a child sex offence in 2013. So this pretty much just was a cloud over his career and his clout until, which now I think is pretty much extinguished due to the fact that he's in jail
for that offence?
No, he's in jail for racketeering, which is a white collar crime. In jail for racketeering, as well as he had a bunch of probation issues, and even on probation he was still screaming out Treyway when he was told not to, and handling guns and stuff like that. Just doing thug-ish while he was out. But he'd released a few songs that went number 1 on the Billboard charts. He had one with Nicki Minaj that blew up called
Super Soaker.
Fifi. Got that wet. Got that super soaker.
You can tell he's a little bit of a lyricist, isn't he?
He's a funny dude, pretty funny dude.
Well, he's a funny guy.
He had a beef with Chief Keef.
Yeah.
And took Chief Keef's baby mama to the Gucci shop to treat her right.
That's the thing. His rise to fame can be attributed a lot to...
Could you imagine doing that?
So funny.
His rise, he's known as like the troll of the rap game.
Okay.
And so really his rise to fame was he had beefs with a bunch of rappers, Chief Keef the most notably. There's also funny videos that he posted on Instagram. He was a bit of a king of Instagram. A favourite one includes when he's doing up his shoelaces in the hallway and he goes, "Some of y'all think I'm not fast. I'm fast as fuck," and runs down the hallway. Just...
That was one video, like, I'm fast.
I don't see him running around and look like a road. Just in his.
You know, he went to where's Chief Keef from?
Chicago.
Yeah, so he went to
Chirac.
he went to C Block, which is like where Chief Keef and all his homies live, at like 10 o'clock at night, and no one's there. He's like right in his beef with Chief Keef. He's like doing Instagram live. He's like, "Yo, Chief Keef, I'm at C Block. Where you at? Didn't know you need to go to bed at 10 p.m. Where you at? I'm out of here."
Yeah.
And this is when he's got like what do they call it? Like a Chief Keef and that all want to kill him. They've all said they'll kill him straight away, like a shoot on sight type of scenario.
Hit or out.
Yeah, like a red light or whatever they call it. And so he goes up there just like yelling stuff in the middle of Chicago.
There's also a funny video of him running around naked with an AK-47 in Europe somewhere.
Yeah,
Like
that's when he had to leave America because it was too red hot.
Yeah, and he was getting...
Because
I think... I'm not sure if people know, but Chief Keef is a killer. You don't want to mess with these boys. And another funny...
Is that confirmed?
Do you want to go to C Block? You want to live in Chirac?
Is
Chief Keef is a bad boy.
Is he a certified bad man, or is he just hanging around with some thumbs?
In the words of Stephen A. Smith, he is a bad man.
Okay.
And another thing that came out of the Bobby Shmurda interview was Bobby Shmurda goes, "These entertainers are just entertainers. They don't live this real.
They ain't about it.
They ain't about this life." So that's a funny little wrap up of Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Is Bobby Shmurda trying to cover his own ass a little bit with previous affiliations with 6ix9ine?
Oh yeah, like
is he trying to reinvent himself as a bit of a hard man when he's?
No, Bobby Shmurda is a hard man.
He went to jail when he was like 17 for a drive-by.
He's, in the words of Bobby Shmurda himself, he's been selling crack since like the 5th grade. So
as you do.
Him and his boys, GS for his gun squad.
So that's the 6ix9ine update.
6ix9ine update.
Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. So now onto the sport report. Just moving swiftly on.
Segues.
This week, LeBron passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list, and the discussion that I think we should lead down is like, how much does LeBron missing the playoffs this year affect his league?
Now, I will give the introduction to this case, at least a more in-depth introduction than Andy's given. There is a debate raging, LBJ versus MJ, who's the GOAT, the greatest of all time in the NBA. And really it's from amateur basketball analysts who were born after 2000, who never saw the greatness of MJ.
After the New Millennium celebrations.
After the New Millennium, the 2001ers.
Yeah, 01 type of homeboys. Could you imagine, 1,000?
Who didn't get to see the greatness of MJ. And of course it's understandable that you'd see, okay, we've got a decent player here. Is he the best of all time? Because he's the best in arguably the best in the era. I think
arguably the best on his own team.
Arguably the best on his own team. Shout out to Kuz.
Mate, I'd say Lonzo whooped his ass in 1-on-1.
And Lonzo's transcended.
And so anyway, there's this debate, and so LeBron James has passed Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list. What is he, like 32,000 something points? And LeBron now finds himself for the first time in the competitive half of the NBA,
the regular season,
and he's at the back end of the NBA season, and he's staring down the barrel of not having a playoff spot. And he hasn't got a bad team. If he had any juice, if he had any legs, if he was half as good as anybody says he was, he would be in the top 3 or 4 teams. He's got a better team than
Sacramento.
got a better team than Sacramento, much better team than Sacramento. You know who's probably got about even Stevens is Milwaukee. If Giannis can get the Bucks, to a great playoff seed, there's no excuse for LeBron being outside the playoffs. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The LeBron MJ debate is ridiculous. Firstly, because it doesn't realise that LeBron's not better than Kobe, but it also doesn't realise that LeBron's not even better than Tim Duncan. So those two players
automatically overlooked.
In our era, LeBron's not even the best in the last 20 years. Let alone the National Basketball Association's history. In terms of anything, LeBron has had way more help than Kobe did, way more help than Tim Duncan did. And you know what? I'm not buying it from this amateur hour post-2000 basketball analysts.
This is the same generation that ate Tita pods and
Title pods.
Wait. In their spare time because they had nothing else to do.
Title pod analysts.
Did you just call it?
the Tide pod analysts?
They just called it Tita. First of all, before I rebuke Dougal's blasphemy, you just said Tita pods while trying to call someone else stupid. You are retarded.
Drop the R word.
Dropping the R word.
Drop the R word. Whatever.
You have to bleep that out.
Yeah, might have to bleep it out. You're an idiot.
I'm not as dumb as the people eating them, so...
Okay.
They're your mates.
So...
They're these SoundCloud rappers that Andy kept associating with.
Okay, so first of all... look,
can I also make the case? Or do you want to jump in?
No, you make the case. You go first, because then we'll have the real analyst.
I would echo Dougal's sentiments. This is, of course, this new era. It's no surprise that the people who believe that there are more than 50 genders also believe that LeBron is the greatest of all time. I would say that there's a pretty strict correlation. If you believe any social sciences, I think anything north of kind of a 0.3 correlation is pretty statistically strong. I would say that correlation is up there with 0.7. I would say pretty close to twice the average. Anyone who believes that LeBron is the greatest of all time, for whatever reason, seems to have a blackout in kind of the 2011 season. Obviously, they don't like to talk about that. When he lost to the Mavs,
Dirk Nowitzki.
He lost to Dirk Nowitzki.
Who was old at that point. He was even old then.
He was old then, and with the super team,
with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
Primetime Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
Dwayne Wade's a top 5, Chris Bosh top 20.
So you lost to Dirk Nowitzki, Jason Terry.
Old Jason Terry.
And you're telling me that he's the GOAT. Now it is, of course, to a lot of people who watched at LeBron, it's no surprise that the first time he went to the West, he's not going to make the playoffs. And not only that, it also adds a whole bunch of credibility to the fact that when people say, he went to 8 straight finals, he pretty much got to 8 straight finals in the WNBA. That's how weak the East was. I would say that the Illawarra Hawks could have made 8 straight finals in the East. LeBron is not the greatest of all time. He's not the greatest Laker of all time. Nor he may not even be the greatest Cavalier of all time. I would say Zdrunas Ilgauskas probably takes that. Big Z.
Kyrie Irving,
also massive case. Kyrie Irving's got sore shoulders pretty much from 2014, 2016, 17 from when he carried LeBron for 2 regular seasons and a championship.
We also need to understand that LeBron is a franchise killer. He gets to a team and trades everybody to try and get some extra help on the team and still loses.
Well, I'll just jump in there. He goes to trade the whole team and then gets pissed off when people aren't really committed.
Yeah.
He's like, is basketball the most important thing in your life right now? Straight after LeBron was seen producing a 2 Chainz album. So, well, I'm sorry, LeBron. He came straight back after the All-Star break and he lost to the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks.
Trae Young and co.
The Atlanta Hawks. I'm sorry, but the Sydney Uni Flames, the female team.
If you guys can hear, we've also got the support of the dog,
the German Shepherd, Kaiser.
Is a bad dog.
That's a bad dog. And I don't think you can make any kind of statistical case based on logical fact, besides the fact that you like LeBron and he's kind of he's all for black justice, as for him being the greatest of all time. So,
You could even make the case that LeBron's part of the deep state with all this Clinton support.
Yeah, it's kind of he's big friends with Obama, who's massive deep state. Also, he's 3-10 in the finals. So I don't know if you shoot less than 30% from the field, I don't think you wouldn't make the team, let alone be the GOAT.
Is it my turn yet? Is it my turn yet?
Happy, have the floor, Andy. Have the
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to address the fact that you can make it the case for MJ and for Kobe and Duncan is the Kobe and Duncan are definitely more comparable to each other than LeBron and those two, and I personally think you could probably give the edge to Duncan in that debate. But the reason LeBron statistically is just so superior to everyone else in this debate, except, well, MJ's close, but let's take out the contemporaries first. LeBron's points per game, efficiency, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, etc. The whole game, the efficiency is so much greater than those of Kobe.
Do you know why?
Let me just finish real quick. LeBron's about to miss the playoffs, right? LeBron, before he got injured, they were third or fourth in the West, right? They were doing really, really well. Like Lonzo wasn't injured. Then what happened was they completely fell apart.
LeBron tried to trade the whole team.
No, LeBron got injured, and then they kept going downhill. There's a point in which you need to realize if you're one of the players, this is a business. You might get traded, but like your trade stock isn't going to go up, and you're going to have like a better deal if you start playing like crap because of it. Also, LeBron now
Lost the Hawks.
has had the first major injury of his career, and like of course like with the legs and the groins, and the groin injury, it's hard to stay in shape after that. So we don't see like LeBron hasn't been as productive, but he's still averaging like 28, 7 and 7 since he came back. Something like really, really good numbers from that. LeBron James is now in his 15th or 16th season. The durability is second to none in regard to any other player ever, and this physical dominance that he's showcased through his stat lines has been ridiculous. And the reason is like that he's been beaten so many times going to the finals was because the Golden State had to construct the greatest team of all time with firstly 3 All-Stars, which LeBron beat. Then they brought in the second best player in the world.
Never should have been an All-Star.
Yes, he should have been. He's the best defensive player in the league. He was. He's not anymore.
What? Okay, continue. I've got some points I want to raise with Andy.
They brought in the second best player in the world, Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant's not even in the top 5. But continue.
He's better than LeBron though.
He is better than LeBron. Okay.
There's no point raising
what I'm going to say.
The efficiency, durability, and statistical.
Okay. What I'm going to say. Firstly, do you know why LeBron puts up good numbers? Because he plays a terribly selfish brand of basketball where he walks the ball up the court, tries to drive it, and if he can't, the other 4 people stand around waiting for LeBron to do something. He's got on his team Kyrie Irving, who's an MVP caliber player, Kevin Love, who was an NBA top 10 caliber player when he was traded to Cleveland, Kyle Korver, who was an all-star at Atlanta before he came to Cleveland, and you know what he does? He makes them all crap. LeBron makes all the players around him crap because they don't get to do anything. They just wait for LeBron to pass them the ball. So that's why LeBron has great stats, because the whole offense runs through him. They never run any proper plays. He's got all this talent around him and he still loses. What I'm saying, there's no excuse for LeBron to lose in those situations. And what I'm saying to you now is, how come they're losing to such bad teams?
They're losing now to such bad teams because the inexperience of the team, for one. Secondly, Lonzo Ball's injured, which I think it goes under the carpet. He is vital to that team. And also, LeBron still hasn't got his legs back fully.
A lot of people say LeBron doesn't play defense.
Oh, so
LeBron,
yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say.
LeBron's defense now.
That's the other thing I was going to say. It's the reason why LeBron's longevity is so long is because he doesn't play hard.
Are you telling me that in his 16 seasons, every single season, he's lacked off on defense?
Yes.
Yes. Well, either he's lacked off it or he's just not good at it.
LeBron James. Why does LeBron James pick up on the best player at the end of the game?
He doesn't.
He does.
That's never happened.
He does.
When he was on the Cavs, it was Shumpert. Dwayne Wade. When he was on the Heat, it was Dwayne Wade.
Probably Kevin Love at the Cavs.
Kevin Love at the Cavs. Now.
Yeah, and
now Kuzma or Ball picks up the best player.
Now, what you have to understand is that LeBron's not a winner. That's what you have to understand. Tim Duncan's a winner. Kobe's a winner. LeBron's...
Shaquille O'Neal's a winner.
Shaquille O'Neal's a winner.
So
Dwayne Wade's a winner.
How you go 3 for 10 and then call yourself the GOAT?
because he had the greatest team of all time constructed against him in his era.
Are you talking about the Mavs?
But he didn't beat the greatest team of all time.
He did.
Not when they had Durant.
Not when they had Durant.
They were a 73-9 win team. They'd swept the playoffs. I think besides they gave one
so
game
let's say,
after.
so let's look at the 73-9 Golden State Warriors team. And let's just rank order their best players against each other. LeBron versus Steph Curry, who's supposed to be better?
LeBron's better.
Okay, Kevin Love versus Klay Thompson. Oh no, Kyrie versus Klay Thompson. Who's better?
Probably Kyrie.
Kyrie. Kevin Love versus Draymond Green. Who's better? Kevin Love. So what you find is that Cavs have much better players than Golden State, and if LeBron was half as good as what you're saying he is, he should have swept Golden State in 4 games.
No, that's not true, because the depth...
They were stacked. That Cleveland team was stacked. J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver.
Look, where's J.R. Smith now?
Shumpert. It's because
Shumpert.
LeBron made him bad.
LeBron didn't make him bad.
Tristan Thompson
Thompson is too busy getting cursed.
Tristan Thompson at that point was an absolute beast.
Not when he got his contract. Not when he got his...
But Andy,
good.
what I'm saying is that if you're the GOAT and you come up against a team where you have at least equal talent to the other team, it should be like you should be able to close out that series regardless.
I think you're underestimating the actual power of the Golden State Warriors.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that if the Golden State Warriors are that good in comparison to LeBron, LeBron's not the GOAT. If it was MJ, Kevin Love, and Kyrie Irving, there would be no issue in overpowering that Golden State Warriors team.
The year before that, without Kyrie, without Kevin Love, with Matthew Dellavedova as the second best player on that team, he took him to 6 games. All right? So that was the first Golden State championship. The second time, he had Kevin Love and Kyrie, and he brought them boys back from the deep, from 3-1 down. The greatest finals performance and the greatest stretch of games, ever.
Yeah, it was because of Kyrie, not because of LeBron.
LeBron averaged a 32-point triple-double.
Russell Westbrook does that every day.
And
Kyrie's
the one hitting the big shots.
Kyrie hit one big shot at the end.
Kevin Love hit a big shot as well. It wasn't
But
LeBron. It was
LeBron James, best block of all time.
Yep, so what?
LeBron James, was the greatest player on that team, right? Was the best player on that team, performed the best on that team, and came back and beat the Golden State Warriors.
Okay, I'm just saying, if you've got Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving on your team, and you lose most of your playoffs, most of the finals, you're not the GOAT.
So
also,
he had 2,
and then
he had against those Golden State Warriors, he had 2 series, where he went 1-1, and in one of those, Curry and Kevin Love both weren't playing because they were injured.
If you lose to an old Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Terry, when you have Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, you're also not the GOAT. The reason why Jordan's the GOAT by far is because he was 6 from 6 in the finals.
He was unquestionably the best player of his era, and then when the opportunity arose, he took it.
Against the bad boy Pistons.
He got smoked by the bad boy Pistons, and he needed to wait for Bill Laimbeer and them cats to retire or get old before he could beat them. He didn't get out. He didn't get into the finals for so long.
Look at the level of competition Kobe Bryant was playing against. Those Celtics teams, those Spurs teams, those Heat teams, they're way harder than LeBron with Kevin Love and Kyrie against the Golden State Warriors. Kobe and Pau Gasol against Tim Duncan, Gallinari, Tony Parker, Ginobili, Kawhi, or
Dwayne you just made a massive contradiction. Beforehand, you said Kobe and Tim Duncan were better than LeBron because LeBron had more help than them, and now you're explaining why those teams are so good because of the other players around them and why that makes the case for Kobe or Tim Duncan. That's the most contradictory thing you've said so far, and the era was basketball across all eras has been super strong, and now in the era of super teams, which LeBron pretty much created by going to the Heat, and then the super teams constructed to beat him and the Warriors, because the Warriors were constructed to beat LeBron. Now in this era, like there may be less elite teams, but even still, those elite teams are at a high level.
How do you explain the loss to the Mavericks?
You don't explain it. That's a major fudge on his career. You can't explain
because he's not the GOAT. That in of itself means you're not the greatest. You construct a super team and you can't beat Dirk Nowitzki. That's it. It's done. There's no going back from that.
Also, you're just not as good as Tim Duncan or Kobe as well.
Yes, you are better than both.
Because Kobe had way less help.
Oh my God! You just said
Kobe
said that Kobe and Pau Gasol and Lamar Odom and those boys
I said
Andrew Bynum, Derek Fisher,
and
the rest of the
I think we're going to have to wrap this up.
I said Kobe's only help was Pau Gasol for like his last 3 championships. When Pau Gasol is way worse than Kyrie or Kevin Love.
Did you see the numbers that Pau Gasol was putting up at like in Memphis and then at the Lakers?
Pau Gasol gets crisped by Kevin Garnett.
It's because Kevin Garnett's like the second best power forward of all time.
Okay,
Pow's
now
probably
let's
top.
do. Now we still have to do jumping to conclusions. Anthony Davis. What's this Bogut on our running sheet?
Bogut going back to the Warriors.
Andrew Bogut leaving the Sydney Kings.
Mate, this is going to be like an hour 45 podcast.
Yeah, skip Bogut, I reckon.
Yeah, if we're okay with it, like we'll.
Okay, I'm happy to skip Bogut. We'll go to Anthony Davis. Now, Anthony Davis had a hand injury which kept him out for quite a few games. This is in justification of my conclusion that Anthony Davis is not going to get a max contract anywhere except the New Orleans Pelicans.
Wait, he won't or he shouldn't?
He won't.
Okay.
He won't. Now, Anthony Davis was playing pretty well before his little hand injury. That being said, at the time he was playing, I still don't think the Pelicans were an above 500 team, even though they had Drew Holiday playing like a baller and Julius Randle playing like a baller. They weren't above 500. And so now if you look at him in his most recent games, now he was injured for today's game. His previous game before that, he was 16, 5 and 3. The game before that, he was 15, 11 and 3. He missed the game before that. And then the game before that against Phoenix Suns, he was 17, 8 and 3. And so what you find is a guy who had an injury, so he might be more injury prone now than he was before. You find a guy putting up weak numbers if he's playing at all. It looks like a guy who's unmotivated because of all the trade talks. And it's a guy who probably won't get traded at the end of the season, judging by how his performance is now. His trade value has plummeted. He's not worth a lot of money. And even if you were trying to get him before his injury, he can't even put a good team or a decent team above 500. So what you find is Anthony Davis is not a winner. He might be a decent second option, but he's not a guy who can lead a team to a championship, and he should not be given top dollar money unless unless you go into it expecting a second-rate player, a guy who's not in the MVP conversation but is a general all-star player.
I'll tell you why I disagree. There's a couple of reasons. Even if we accept your characterization where he's just an all-star player, you still get a max contract. Mike Conley is on $30 million a year max contract.
Well, that's because he's at such a small market.
Does that mean, like, even if a small market was able to offer Anthony Davis a max contract?
And they thought he was good. They thought Mike Conley was good. I'm saying nobody's going to think Anthony Davis is that good.
Let me tell you why Anthony Davis is probably a top 5 player in the NBA. Let me tell you why. Okay. This season, even with all that you just talked, he's averaging 26.8 points, 12.3 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks. Okay. In a season where he has been clouded by these trade talks, he says he doesn't want to be in New Orleans. He's not really committed to the team, and he's like mentally not fully there. He's still averaging 27 points and 12 rebounds with 2.5 blocks. That means you're an elite defensive prospect. He has been ever since he came into the league. He has been elite defensively, especially with help and providing blocks and being a presence around the rim. So defensively, he's top 5 in the game. Yeah. Then, factoring his offensive game, where he's averaging 27 points, 12 rebounds and 4 assists for this season, that makes you an elite offensive talent.
Okay, what I'm saying is that if you were to look at Anthony Davis' trade value at the beginning of the season, it's totally different to what it is now. That's my argument. In the last 3 games he's played, he hasn't even got 20 points, and he's only got over 10 rebounds once.
That's
and it's got no upward trajectory. No upward trajectory. I wouldn't pay any money for him. He's got to prove himself. And even when he had DeMarcus Cousins and Rajon Rondo on his team complimenting him, they weren't even close to being the top
Cousins
seed.
was injured for a lot of that.
Cousins had an Achilles injury like halfway through the season, which meant that he couldn't play for the rest of the season.
Let me explain why I think Davis will get one. And I would say if he does get one, it won't be the Pelicans. If he does get one, it won't be the Pelicans. The Pelicans, they're in a toxic symbiosis at the minute. Davis doesn't want to be at the Pelicans. Real bad. He really doesn't want to be there. And the Pelicans, in truth, I don't think they really want him there either at the minute. I think they'd look at that. They should have done a deal with the Lakers. That's what they should have done.
Taken the house.
They should have taken the house, and LeBron would have looked like an even
more of a bad
bigger
guy.
drama queen. The problem is, I would say that the morale/motivation issue is the main drag for him as well. He's a little bit tentative coming back from the injury. Bear in mind, he's barely had any games coming back from the injury. Okay, and I think it's too short a span to definitively say he won't get a max contract. His body of work and his potential. There are so few bigs in the league who can impact the game the way Anthony Davis can, both on the offensive and defensive. His offensive repertoire has expanded to the extent where he is pretty much unguardable on the offensive end, particularly since he's added the 3 ball to his game. I imagine that even with this injury cloud around him, the prospect of even getting an 80% Anthony Davis would warrant a max contract. The guy is that legitimate that if you take 80% of 26, 11 and 2.5 blocks a game, you're pretty much looking at 24, 9.5 and let's just say 1.8 blocks a game. That's still max contract worthy.
But let's ask the question, why does Davis never do well in the playoffs?
Well, number one, he's playing in the tough conference.
Playing in a stacked West, where his supporting cast, he has Drew Holiday, nice
Good
piece.
player, plays really well in the playoffs.
But your second best player can't be the point guard. That's what I'm saying. Not the West.
Why not?
Because
the point guard's too deep.
You go up every single night in the NBA
Against a potential all-star.
What do you mean? The
Golden
Golden State Warriors probably second best player is their point guard. Cleveland's Cleveland's second best player was the point guard when it was Kyrie.
That's because
Drew Holiday is a good player.
That's because the first 2 talents, both Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry, are transcended.
There are exceptions to the rule.
LeBron James is transcended. Kyrie Irving is a great second piece.
So is Drew Holiday.
But he's not good enough.
He's not good enough.
He's not in that top 2 or 3 point guard.
Especially when Anthony Davis, bear in mind, he's still 25. He's 24, 25.
Davis is going to get he's going to get, I would say, it could be one of the biggest contracts in NBA history.
Well, if he stayed at the Pelicans, it would be, but since he's moving, he won't get one of the biggest contracts.
Yeah, okay. I don't think Davis is a top 5 player. I reckon there are 10 players in the league who are better than Davis. And I wouldn't pay the money for him. And I don't think he's worth the money.
Well, your opinion has just been disproven. So, sorry, mate.
No disproven.
Cool. All right. Well, this is probably our longest podcast going today.
Once again, when we said let's keep it to time.
We're going well up to the free speech segment.
We were. But I think it was an important digression, if we're honest. If we're going to set the tone of the podcast, I think it was an important digression. Andos is whacked. He's already told us he's had a big day. Hopefully, I want to get some of that footage from Andy's basketball. I want to get his brick, but I also want to get his and one today.
And the flex.
And the big, let's go.
You got to defend the land. You got to do it to him.
This is our house.
And
That was
your
one of
last-
those got dropped. Dwayne Wade.
Last home
I thought
game.
it was a little bit much. Andos scored.
This
how
is
many
why I'll
points?
never get picked
I
up by
know.
a TV station because of all this dribbling that goes on.
No,
Also, here's a question. Here's a real
You get 3
question.
No,
blocks.
I had 3 I think 3 steals and 2 blocks. But they called what my chase down block a foul, which I'm still filthy over.
So did you count that as a block?
Yeah, I counted.
So you're making
I had one block.
Here's the real question. Let me bring this up because it's important. I'm going to stare directly down the barrel. I've had reports this week from a couple of fans that if we were in fact to make some t-shirts, they would be well received. If you would be interested in a Carnage House production t-shirt or maybe even a cap or general merch, please let us know because we're seriously thinking about making some. As much as we are political and cultural and sports commentators, we're also men of the people. And we like to give the people what they want. And so if you want a Carnage House Productions piece of clothing to wear, then let us know. We'd like to test, what type of market there is for it. And also, if it seems that there is some demand, we will, I think, have a design competition and we will split the profits with the best t-shirt designer. Anything else?
I think we're done. I think we've been done for a while now, but
I don't think that's fair from Andos, considering he was the one primarily dribbling about the LeBron debate. We were actually reasonably on time until Andy decided to dribble his way through a LeBron defence, which is probably the most appropriate homage you could pay to LeBron's defence. Dribble, not a lot of substance, a lot of complaining and a lot of whinging. Those would be the stats that LeBron would definitely lead the league in.
okay.
And calling himself the GOAT.
That's disgraceful. That's probably the primary reason why he could never be. God would never refer to himself as God in that way.
I am the way, the truth, and the light.
The life, that's right. He never explicitly says God.
He just says I am.
Yeah, I am.
What did you?
And LeBron says I am the GOAT. It's not for him to decide. And certainly detracts from his case. What an emotional drama queen. He's a little bit like Obama.
Whatever. I think we're done.
LeBrama.
So I'd put LeBron after, I reckon there are probably 30 players in NBA history better than LeBron.
Kevin Durant one of them?
No, Kevin Durant's not on there because
he's a snake.
Kevin Durant's a snake.
And
and with, he should have been the man to keep Harden and Westbrook together. He should have really taken.
That's the OKC executive's fault.
He should have taken a lead in that department. He also should have beaten the Golden State Warriors and they're 3-1 up. And then worst thing he can do after that is join them. So Kevin Durant's probably not even in the top 50 players of all time. But I think Duncan and Kobe both make the top 10. Maybe Duncan's 10 to 15. But I think maybe what we could do is we could all make our top 5 or top 10 players for the next week and we go through and discuss who's got the best one. I mean, throw it to the fans.
Yeah, I agree. Andos is going to be, I can imagine Andos is going to be like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo was
maybe
savage.
like 2009, 2010 Chris Bosh, Amari Stoudemire, Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, and maybe Dwayne Wade. That's what I reckon his will be. And then we'll have like a real one, like me and you will do a real one.
Oubre might be on there.
Jason Williams, white chocolate.
Oh, yeah, it's some sauce. You had this special sauce.
Yeah, Paul George. Let's be honest. The future of the NBA is going to be decided by Doncic, Embiid, Greek Freak, and Jokic.
And Davis.
Not Davis. Anyone except Davis, basically. Davis is a B player in the game. And that's the A-list. I'm giving you the A-list future stars. And potentially Cam Reddish.
You like Cam Reddish coming out of Duke?
I like Cam Reddish. I'm a big fan of Cam Reddish and Ja Morant. I haven't been impressed at all with Zion Williamson or RJ Barrett, I have to say.
Zion's a lot of hype. Too much hype.
RJ just broke the freshman scoring record, like the Duke freshman scoring record. That's not, RJ did, but that's neither here nor there. That's by the by, isn't it, Alex?
I like RJ Barrett.
I do like RJ.
I think
he looks a lot better without his dreadlocks as well.
He can't hit big shots. Can't rely on him. The guy who you can rely on is Ja Morant.
Just because you think you're indie by picking someone that goes to Murray State.
Cam Reddish, he's long, he's big, he can shoot, pass, do whatever you want. Big baller, Jason Tatum style, slasher.
You reckon Zion's going number 1 still?
I think...
Is there any possibility he doesn't go number 1?
Of course, like there's obviously a case for RJ, probably a case for Ja Morant, but I just don't think an NBA team will, because it's just such an obscure talent. Like we don't know what he will become. I think teams will take him.
You reckon it's worth taking a punt?
He'll become a smaller version of Charles Barkley.
Except with LeBron's vision.
Yeah, we just got to understand.
I don't know why you keep saying LeBron. LeBron doesn't have good vision anyway.
He's Rajon Rondo's vision.
He's just not big enough to play with the tall trees down in the house.
He's going to find out from boys like
he hasn't got the handles to play on the outside. I just don't see him fitting in anywhere.
He's got some. I think you need to look at some tape because he's got a handle. He can dribble. He can shoot it. No, dribble and pass.
I just don't see him fitting in on any NBA team.
He's a tweener, and he's an undersized tweener.
I think moving towards since the NBA is like losing centers and moving towards small ball.
That's not true. They did for a while. Now they're moving back towards big boy ball. There are a bunch of really good back to the basket big men now.
Embiid.
You got Embiid. You got the Joker. Vucevic.
Towns.
Karl Anthony Towns.
But all of those besides Vucevic play on the outside also.
Yeah, but they're also legit post players.
Yeah, so
we haven't had legit post players since Shaquille O'Neal retired.
What about like Stoudemire?
He wasn't a back to the basket. He was an athletic big man. He was a pick and roll guy with Steve Nash. What are you on about? Get some facts. Get some facts.
Let me think. What about Prime Dwight? What about Orlando Dwight?
Pick and roll again. Jameer Nelson, mate. You keep throwing at me these pick and roll players. They're not back to the basket. Dwight Howard tried to do a post move once and he threw it into the side of the backboard.
It's Kwame Brown style.
He's got the touch of Jesse Smollett.
Can we go? Can we finish this up? We've said for the last 20 minutes that we've been done.
Alright, next week we'll bring the
lists in.
The lists in.
I'm excited. This is good. How are there any rules? Can we go like ABA? Like it's gone that far back?
You can get Dr. J and them captain if you want.
Oh, you want to do all time? I thought we were doing current. We could.
Should we do both?
I think we do a current one first, and then depending on
how
it goes,
what?
we can go
and we'll bring
time.
Mark in on this one. We'll bring Mark the Shark because he was supposed to come in last time, but he was too busy eating.
Throw this one out there. Does D'Angelo Russell make the list? I know there's a few D'Angelo truthers out there.
Top 10 this currently. You're saying LeBron and AD don't make top 10 currently, but give me some of that D-Lo.
You know what? D-Lo is an alternate facts type of guy. He's the type of guy who Carnicelli's listeners would appreciate.
D-Lo and Dinwiddie.
Spencer Dinwiddie coming out of Colorado.
What about that Joe Harris? The smooth...
Oh, Joe Harris, 3-point bomb.
3-point champ.
He's a smooth operator, there's no question.
What about Jared Allen getting up and blocking Giannis and LeBron?
Jared Allen is the giant killer.
Hold on, can we make 1 point? 2 points actually.
No one's listening still.
Mate, it's almost 6:30.
2 points. One was Andy and I recently played a game of NBA 2K. Andy was the Wizards, which are ranked 6th out of all the 30 teams on this
NBA 2K18.
2K18. I played as the 13th ranked Bucks, and Andy got dominated by the GOAT Thon Maker, who's only rated 71 out of 100, who just went to town on Andy's team. 20-point blowout. And then I played Alex today when I had the, 15-16 Warriors?
The greatest
when how's it the great? They didn't even have Durant.
The greatest regular season of all time.
Nobody cares about the regular season. The Raptors had a great record, so did Atlanta.
But in 2K, it's applicable to...
No, it's not. And you had 98 LeBron with the Heat, with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, and you got blown out by 20 today by the Splash Brothers. I just wanted to make that point.
Okay, well, I'll make the point that I beat you in the previous 7 games. So if you want to talk about the one win, then sure you can.
And then I'll make the point that I was busy at school or something like that. I'm not sure where I was, but these two were having a game here at home. And I get 20 video messages from Dougal just complaining about Alex's 2K play and behaviour on the 2K on the buttons.
He was upset because Jerry West was laminating his bus pass and taking him to school from the corner.
Dougal is a perennial sore loser and the perennial worst winner in 2K of all time. He does the Andy, why are you so salty, mate? It's a good game. Shake my hand. Get out of here.
I'm going to put up the videos I have of trying to shake Dougal's hand after Jerry West. I think put about 25 on him in the third quarter.
Big China was not having it.
Big China wasn't having a bar of it. And I was trying to get some diplomatic immunity from the big Dukes, and he wasn't having a bar. I'll put the video up of Dougal. You can tell it's Dukes because of the girth on him. You don't get his head, but I was trying to see if I could get a handshake. Nothing. Free Julian Assange, free Tommy Robinson. We'll be fighting for free speech, and we might even stream some 2K coming up. So thanks for being with us on Carnage House. Anything you want to say before we go, Dukes? This is not an excuse for you to put 3 or 4 more points in. No, that'll wrap it. Okay, Andos, you all good? Andos won basketball today, by the way, guys, and we're going to see if we can get some footage. Andos, Skeletor's longest, the Slim Reaper, coming at you. All right, thanks for being with us. Thanks for bearing with us.